Alright guys, welcome to the technical analysis video for Monday the 20th of June 2022. This is being recorded after the US equity markets have closed for the day. Right, I'm looking at a weekly chart of Bitcoin. We're into support here. We've pierced quite severely the rising 200 weekly moving average, and moving averages are ordinarily an area of support. And interestingly here, we're into this pivot here, looking on the left of the screen, the peak from December 2017. That should provide an area of strong support. Now, it doesn't mean we're going to go straight up like a rocket. Remember, this is a weekly chart, so we may bounce up and down for a bit. But I'm of the opinion that most of the lows have been made for now, and we should be getting a bounce sometime in the next few weeks. It may even be a month or two out. But we should get a meaningful bounce, and then we have to reassess to see whether we're going to come back down again, and are we going to make new lows. It's just something we need to be aware of. I'm not sure what the outcome is going to be, but we're into an area of major support. Let's take a look at Ethereum and see if we've got the same situation there. Again, we've pierced the 200 moving average, and moving averages, especially on the weekly time frame, are strong areas of support. It pierced all the way through, and we're into the sort of this pivot area here, give or take. Again, we may bounce up and down a bit for the next few weeks. It's a weekly chart. Each bar is 1 week. But my idea, or the idea that I have, that we are due for a bounce. Not only are we blatantly oversold, we're so far away from the descending 20 moving average on the weekly time frame. But let's take a look at the SPY. This is the ETF that tracks the S&P 500. We are into this pivot high here from August or September 2020, after the initial coronavirus bounce. That's a pivot there, and we're also into the peak, or we're not far away from the peak of March 2020 before the markets crashed when coronavirus hit. We are in the vicinity of the rising 200 moving average on the weekly time frame on the S&P 500, which should be a good area of support as well. So not quite sure if we've actually carved out a bottom, but we're pretty close. We are pretty close, and we should be getting some sort of bear market rally, which should be long enough to catch a meaningful move to the upside. Let's just take a look at the daily chart and see if there are any signals there. No signals there as such, but again, we are blatantly oversold also on the weekly chart, and we are moving into an area where there should be some strong support. Now back to the cryptos. Remember, when we make big moves like this on the longer term time frame, the weekly time frame, you need to be aware that it will take some time to bottom before we get a move in the pattern, before we get a trend change. Looking at the daily chart, again, we're trying to carve out a low here, but any bounce should get us back towards the 20 moving average and possibly up towards the 50 moving average here, which would coincide with these pivot lows here. But it is rather difficult to say whether this is the actual low and it's going to be off to the races, going forward over the next few months. Very difficult to tell whether we do that, or whether we come back down in a few months' time and test this low or go further. It's very difficult to look far ahead and see what's going to happen. All we can do is take it 1 week at a time. And it's the same story on Bitcoin. Let's look at the daily chart. Again, we're trying to carve out a low, and we are quite an extended way away from the 20 moving average on the daily time frame. Going back to the weekly, we're into a strong area of support, this pivot high from back in 2017. So it looks like we could have a meaningful bounce on the cards sometime over the next few weeks. All right, guys, I'll wrap it up there, and I hope to catch up with you again very soon.